Guys, good evening, and you're welcome to um, today's fireside chat with Lizette Berry. So, I'm sure most of you will be asking who Lizette Berry, although her bio was shared to you guys this one some few like a couple of weeks before today's self, but then yeah, so that's why she's here. She will tell us a little bit about herself, and we will be able to we will be able to dive deeper into what trading psychology, or let me say psychology, um, generally affects how we behave as humans. Okay, so I think we can proceed with we can proceed. So welcome everyone. And yeah, special welcome to our distinguished guest, Lizette. So,
Thank
Lizette,
you.
yeah, as a brain coach and a founder of Brain Fitness Center Africa, you've taken, let me see, an extraordinary personal journey that led to transforming others' lives, right? Could you
Yeah.
share with us what initially drew you to explore the brain's remarkable capacity for change?
Yeah. So the very first thing that made me interested in the brain was as a child, I believed that every brain is the same. I thought that every human thinks the same. And from our home, we actually had similar mindset until when I stepped out to school. That's when I discovered that others are not really the same. But when I went to secondary school, the worry only got bigger because at this point I could see I was in boarding school. And when I get to school, from the first 3 weeks, I read my books. If I had all my textbooks, I will read all of the books within the first 3 weeks and I'll be done. So I don't know what we're doing in school for the rest of the year. It's just boring. And then I'm getting into trouble because I start skipping school. I start going out of school to go play in town with friends and stuff like that. And then I would see, and when I read that, I don't forget. So whenever the exam come, I will still be, I mean, I'll top the class and I don't need to read again. And then I see other people who will read every day throughout the year. They would read, they would put their feet in water, and then they fail. Like, so I just didn't understand that. I'm like, what's happening? So at one point, even there was a teacher told me that I am the one who has a problem because when it was about time to select your subjects, when you have to go to science class or arts class, I didn't know what to select because I was good at all of them. I love literature as much as I loved physics. I didn't want to choose. And then he told me that I was malfunctioning because nobody should be able to equally love those subjects. And at one point, I believed that. I thought I had a problem. But with time, I decided to start learning about the brain because I was like, what is my problem? Or what is their problem? Why can't they like pass a simple exam? That's how I described it at the time. A simple exam after reading and soaking their legs in water. So that was the main thing that pulled me to study the brain. But later on in life as well, I experienced something that made me understand even deeper because I read a lot about the brain, people's own theories, and I've been working in that field for a long time. But until I had that experience, it was a bitter experience. But until I had that experience, that's when I understood. I really understood what I had been teaching. It's a different thing to know it. It's a different thing to live it. So yeah.
Wow. Actually, I'm thinking I wish I also had that sort of brain back in SHS because, uy. Oh, that's amazing. That's really amazing. So,
Oh,
I think that will lead to my next question with the
mm,
experience. So let me
mm,
say, yeah, experience of facing like uncertainty during your this one,
mm.
um, your health challenges. Like this one, I picked it up from the session you held. Was it at the book launch, the one we had Kofi Amma been showing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so your experience of facing that authenticity during your health challenges,
Mm-hmm.
um, like it really resonates deeply with our trading community. You
Yeah.
get it? Yeah,
Mm.
so I'd want to know, how did you develop that mental resilience during that period? And what did you learn about the brain's response to that sort of uncertainty?
Okay. First
Mm.
of all, I know it sounds like all rosy when you're in school and you can read fast, but at one point it became like a burden because I didn't understand it. And like I wouldn't have friends because they are mad at you that we are all playing together and then you still go and you be first in class. So they get mad at you. And then at one point I decided to actually fail. I will write the wrong answers just so that I can catch up with people. So when you don't understand who you are or what you carry, people can actually make you feel bad for something good. So it wasn't all rosy. And I think they also had their own like good things, just they didn't know how to manage it. Now about the experience I had, before then, I would say I had learned a lot about the brain. So you prepare for battle before you actually get into the battle. I know that many people just think about it like because I got sick for this long time and then went through this, then I became a strong person. I think that was just an addition because if I wasn't mentally tough before that time, I would not have been able to go through the situation. You know, when you are in an uncertain situation, when you're in pain, especially for a long time. I was in the hospital for 8 months with several surgeries. So I know that God is going to get me through it, but you have to wait. You know, you have to wait on the Lord and you are waiting in pain. And of course, this one was a physical pain, but that happens with us in everyday life, everything, you know, when you're looking forward to something and you're not getting it, it's not easy to wait in that pain. So everybody talks about patience, but patience is really mental toughness because it's all about waiting in the pain without losing yourself. That's the most important part I'm adding. Is waiting without losing yourself to see like where you will get to. So for me, during the time I was in the hospital, I had to close my ears to external noise because everybody had an opinion of why I'm sick or why I will not get well, or everybody had an opinion. And everybody had something that they wanted me to do to get well, but I had to close my ears to external noise. That's one of the ways I got through it, I would say. If you don't look inward and you keep listening to things that are happening around you, you're gonna lose yourself. And again, this is not just about being in a serious or a chronic sickness situation with our daily lives. A lot of us are maybe drawn to the outside world more than what is inside us. I sometimes I say all the answers are within you, but you don't listen to yourself. You don't know how to be quiet and listen to your inner intelligence or to your inner self. So you go listening to people all the time. Not that listening to people is bad, but the education from within you should be stronger than the one that is coming from outside. So
Wow. So I think that's some, because when I say it resonates with us, like, so you see, we traders sometimes when they start trading, most of them
mhm,
start to trade because yes, they've seen that this person on Instagram is driving a Lambo. They've seen that this Ghanaian forex trader has bought a Range Rover. So like more of them join because yeah, they think they can change their life in a couple of
mhm,
months. You get it? Yes.
mhm,
And it's after they start trading, that's when the reality hits them. And most when it hits them like that, they tend to
mhm,
give up. You get it? And that's
mhm,
exactly what's like you have explained. As in, in like in times of uncertainty, because when you start trading, because they barely start with like big this one accounts. We have most traders like let me say starting with as low as $10, and more of them are thinking of buying mansion or whatever, like by flipping that $10. But that's what I always tell them: they don't have to, let me say, keep their mind to what, like, let me say, the probabilities of they turning that $10. Although it may look not feasible, but then what?
Mhm.
They just need to be resilient and try to hone their skills, their trading skill to the level where they can be like, they can comfortably manage big sums of money. You get it?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you've really touched on. Thank you very much for that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point you just said, that the ability to manage big sums of money. You know, most of us are attracted to large sums of money, but we can't even understand large sum of money. It's not all about the amount you see. If you can't
exactly.
manage 10,000 CDs, you don't expect to get 100,000 CDs. You know, the
Exactly.
money is not going to come to you. You have to know how to first of all, like, believe in what you have, and it's step by step. I mean, you start with a small, with 10, you go to 100, you go to 10,000, and then it grows gradually.
Exactly. True. Thank you very much. So, guys, hope you are learning. We've had a lot of them in the community just getting scared and stuff, like they
Mhm.
wanting some easy way out. But then, guys, as you have learned, like there's the expert speaking, so you just need to be patient and try to what, move scalably. Okay, don't try to move from zero to 10,000 all of a sudden. We start crawling before we can walk. Yeah. So
Mhm.
Lizette,
Yeah.
when you work with clients at Brain Fitness Center Africa who face like high pressure, like high pressure situations, what
Mhm.
patterns do you notice in how their brains respond to stress? Because, like, I'm particularly curious because traders often face like similar pressure points.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Pressure is one of those emotional stressors that human beings face. It's yeah, we'll call them kind of negative emotions. There are several
okay,
types. Now, when you're under pressure, or when you're stressed, what happens is that the body produces more cortisol, and it goes to the brain. That's, or we call it a stress hormone.
okay,
When that hormone flows more to the brain, it it triggers the amygdala response. So the amygdala is what is in charge of the fight and flight response. I'm sure you should know about this, the fight and the flight response. And what happens with the amygdala is always it always tries to respond fast, because of course, if you're in danger, that part of your brain has to respond fast, so that you know if you're running away, or you'll be able to fight whatever is in front of you. So the same way that if you're under pressure, the brain feels that you have to give a fast response. Now, the problem with the amygdala response is that once it is triggered, it hijacks the logical brain. It hijacks the prefrontal cortex. That's where logic is processed. So if that part of your brain hijacks the logic, there's no way you can actually produce something that makes sense. You cannot reason it out. It's like you're trying to escape a lion. There's no way you're actually doing something that really makes sense. Even though your subconscious brain might give you some ideas, say you're running away from the lion in the forest, it might give you some ideas to go left, right, subconsciously, and you actually flee from it. But to have a logical decision at that moment is almost impossible, especially if your cortisol level is too high. So for some people, I always say every brain is different, and depending on how your activities normally look like, your cortisol level can be super high. If it's too high and you don't know how to bring it down, you can stay in this fast response or pressure response phase for a longer time than it should ever be, and that's when it begins to affect your work. So sometimes you might be under pressure and then you understand that, okay, I can quickly do this to calm down and then think about the situation. But if you are not able to do those things that you're supposed to do, then you can stay like triggered for a long time and you'll
Mm.
make a series of bad decisions.
That's very true. So with this very one that you just said, there's someone on the call who can really relate. Elvis, hope you understand what the son Lisa just explained to us just now. So you
Yes, sir.
remember our recent live trade when we were in this one, the good buys, then we had Kwabna, was the name, leaving the trade daily because he thought, nah, price is behaving haphazardly, so I need to get out. What happened right after he left out? Price went straight to hit our TP, isn't it? So
Hmm.
exactly, so that's what she is trying to say. If you are, let me say, in a trade, for instance, like exactly what I don't try to overanalyze. You get it? Because the more you try to like, you don't really get your this one, your brain to function well. You end
Yeah.
up doing some stuff that will like you end up taking bad decisions as she has said. You get it? And you can also relate to what nearly happened. Was it Friday when he had bagged like $3 from a trade, then he later wanted to enter the market. You see, when I told him not to enter, right from there we saw a very big drop to the downside. You get it? So imagine he should have gone to enter that trade, he would have, like all of his money would have gone. You get it? But the reason why he wanted to enter was because yes, I've got money. Let me enter again and get another money. You get it? Because he thinks that yeah, the price will continue rising. But then if you really understand how your brain works, these are some petty stuff that what you'll be able to take notice and make the right decision once in the moment so that you don't end up what taking bad decisions that will later ruin you. Right. So I think this, if you are not even learning anything from there, like since we started, there's one thing that you need to get, like you need to get it embedded in your brain. You get it? Yeah. Because Charlie, barely do you have like experts trying to touch on what you are doing and explaining to you how they really affect us as traders. You get it? So guys, I think we will have to this one take good heed like from this. Yeah, so Lizette,
Yeah.
although you told me that like the Harvard wasn't really like was Harvard about the neuroscience?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So let me say from that experience, let me say from your Harvard studies in neuroscience, could you explain what happens in our brains when we face like should I say financial decisions under pressure? You get it? Like what I just explained.
Yeah. I think that's similar to what I just explained. When financial decisions normally should
Yeah.
never be something that you rush over.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that has to do with finances should not be something that you rush over. Meanwhile, that is the fact. Sometimes you are in a business that actually needs fast response.
Yes.
Now, the idea is that you should be able to work on yourself to make sure that your brain is not easily hijacked. Your logical brain is not easily hijacked. So we already know that with the pressure, every time there's pressure, there's something that is causing you to produce more of those negative chemicals. It's
Mm,
going to definitely it's going to stimulate the amygdala. It's going to want to react to it fast and not in a good way. Now, the whole idea is you should learn how to control that. That if you control that, there are people that you can tell that they have grit, they have that same confidence, whether there's trouble or no trouble. They have the same confidence. They are able to perform. the same way, whether there's trouble or no trouble. It's not something that just happens when the pressure comes. It's a practice. They work on themselves so well that if they are in the midst of that pressure, they are able to close it out or to stop the chemicals from flowing to their brain. And so in that moment, they'll still be able to react fast, but logically.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So this was very crucial because should I say so there is this thing. You see, most traders they really feel that edge, like let me say they feel under pressure because like they just don't want most of them are afraid of losses. They don't want to take the loss. You get it? So there was once too we were on a live trade where I was in a trade and one guy was like, I'm used to it because I'm a scalper. Like when it comes to trade, we have different types of traders. You have scalpers. Scalpers are in the market for a short while. And we also
Mhm.
have day traders. Day traders can hold a trade for like close to 3 hours, or let me say the whole day. And we have swing traders who can hold their positions for like weeks and months. You get it?
Mhm.
So he was like, because I'm a scalper, I get to what manage my emotions. Like we on a trade, we were live in the trade, and he didn't understand why I was still in the trade, but he had gotten out because he feared that what he might take a loss. You get it? But then
Yeah.
I also told them that it doesn't just come like that. It comes with experience, as you have said. If
Yeah.
because I just told them they just need to be comfortable with taking losses. Because if they are to be consistently taking losses, then taking the next loss wouldn't be a problem. Because in the long run, they are practicing good risk management. Like before this very, you see, I was explaining to you that win rates, knowing the statistics of your trade. Imagine
Yeah.
you have like, yeah, the 50%, you are definitely going to lose 50 trades. So, and you know that what you are using like a risk to reward of 162. So definitely, even those 50 losses that you are losing, you are going to earn times two of that. You get it? So there's no
Mhm.
need for you to
Yeah.
panic if you are taking losses. You see?
Mhm.
So that's what you've really hit the nail on its
Mhm.
head. And I hope that whilst they are here, they get to understand it and from henceforth start feeling comfortable with taking losses. Yeah. So let's say you've worked with elite athletes on performance optimization. So what's should I say parallel? Yeah, so like what similarities, yeah, do you see
Mhm.
between athletic performance and trading performance from let me say neurological perspective?
Mhm.
Yeah, like athletes and traders. You you've already told me you have not really seen much about trading, but then let me
Yeah.
see, from the bare minimum, have you like come to know of that very similarity between an athlete and let me say this one a trader in
Mhm.
like in a perspective of the neuroscience stuff?
Okay. Yeah. Um, whenever you're talking about performance, the first thing is that it's all in the mind. It's all about how prepared you are in your mind. So if an athlete steps out to the field, say someone who is doing let me say, yeah, someone who has to go around the field like 2 or 3 times, they have to be prepared to go in front of a crowd more times. If you're doing a short distance, sometimes that one is easier for most people. You go and then you're done. Sorry, I'm just something's distracting me. So you go and then you're done. But even with that, you still need a preparedness to face the crowd. Now, the challenge here is the people sitting in the crowd want to be entertained. They know what they want to see. They don't know the work that goes into seeing that short 100 meters run. They don't know that you may have practiced for months to do that run. So it's about preparedness. The mindset has to be strong from the onset, maybe months into that journey. The same thing with trading. I'm hoping that I'm really getting it right. The same thing. You can't go talking to people about or finances or trying to sell things to people when you are not prepared. You need to get a good knowledge about your work. So when you start, like, questions should not surprise you, or the things that are happening in the business should not surprise you. You need to do enough research. You need to learn. There'll always be new things. There'll always be new things that will challenge people in every field. But there's already knowledge out there that is available to you to learn in your field. Whatever you're doing, you need to be able to prepare yourself. So that's the first thing, preparedness. For those who are going to do well in any skill, any field, you need that preparedness. You need to, like, know what you're doing. And I was talking about the fact that you get to do this in front of people. For the
Mm-hmm.
athletes, for instance, yeah, you're doing that in front of people and they know what they're expecting of you. You know what they're
Yeah.
expecting of you, and you're trying to give them what they want.
Then
And they can start like shouting and encouraging you at the beginning of your race. And then when you don't get to where they wanted you to get on time, then they start booing you. In just a short time, it goes from yay to boo. So so and when you're trading, you're working with people, sometimes people who don't understand what you're saying, people who don't believe in what you're saying. You have to convince somebody, or you have to bring somebody on your train. So you can't come there without understanding, or without at least knowing your audience mindset. You
okay.
have to have a knowledge, yeah. Again, you will not know perfectly, but you have to have an idea of what people may want to know about this trading that you're talking about, what they stand to gain, how you can actually um, put something into their lives. So it should not be centered around what you are going to gain. You are going to sell, or you are going to make people interested in what you're doing when they see what they are going to gain. So your mindset when you're preparing for your game, let me call it your game, it's not just about you. In fact, you should even be a secondary profit, or a
Um,
secondary result. It's what are they gaining? I mean, you know that at the end of it, you get something, but you have to kind of work on their own psychology, like work on how to convince them.
that's
Sometimes
true.
it's not even about the money or the things they are going to gain. They want an emotional connection to whatever your trade, whatever your the conversation is that you're having with them. They need to be able to connect to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. So with the preparation part, yes, very, very like there's something that you all need to take because before it get established, trading is me, I wouldn't even say 80%. It is 99.9% psychology because buying and selling is easy, you know. What really matters is you being able to stay in whatever position that that's one you have committed to. If it's a buy, is the brain that is going to tell you whether to hold on to that buy or sell it. You get it? Yeah. So
Mhm.
me, I don't regard like the technicals when it comes to trading. What really matters is the psychology. And as you have said, like you need to be very prepared. You get it? So we've had instances where yes, we trade like we go live to trade like live stream, and sometimes the thing is I wouldn't have to do pre-analysis, but this is something that I've been doing for like the last 2 years, and there's only one thing that I'm looking out from the financial market. So if I should see that pattern, we just go all in and we enter. You get it? Whether it's profits or it's a loss, we just take it like that because we know that what we are practicing good risk management. So those ones has been taken care of. There's some like the losses and the profits, those are something that we don't have any this one control over. But what we really have control over is what our brain. And we only get to control our brain if we are really prepared, as you have said. You see, so
Mhm.
guys,
Mhm.
preparation is very necessary. Yeah, that's why mostly I do encourage you guys to what, be sharing setups. Sometimes do like analyze the markets yourself and share setups with the community. You get it? If it's something which needs to be worked on, we work on it together. If it looks very good, we just give it a go ahead to what, execute. Just that what, you need to pay attention to risk management, which is very key when it comes to this one trading. Yeah. So Lizette, in your
Mhm.
neuro coaching this one practice, um how do you help clients overcome like decision paralysis? Like this is particularly relevant for traders who often need to make like quick decisions with incomplete information. Sometimes you'll be in the market because you've seen some. So let me say, a good example may be that you've bought the US dollar, like you've bought the US dollar against the pound, thinking that what, the dollar will gain this one some sort of value. Let me use the Ghana CD and the dollar. Yeah. So currently we have people buying dollars because they think this thing. Now we have more of them selling their dollars because they think that their president is going to make Ghana strong again. So, and here is the case, like we can, like you see, there's uncertainty in this part. So you've already entered the
Mhm.
position, but Trump can come anytime and just say something. You get it? And what he says, like limited 99% of the time, has an effect on the markets. You get it? So last 2 weeks, for instance, he came to announce some tariffs against some countries, and that really had an effect on this one, the AUD, that's the Australian dollar, now the
Mhm.
Canadian dollar, and a couple of currencies. You see,
Mhm.
so in times like this, like how do you help clients overcome this sort of like, let me say, decision paralysis? So let me see, they've entered a buy. Trump too has come to talk. Right now, they don't really know what to do. You get it? So, being an expert in this for like, what is that um, thing that you always like? What's that help or guide that you give them to overcome that sort of situation?
Okay, this this one, um, it's a little challenging to actually put something out there because most people always expect you to give them a tip that can help them actually overcome something like this. But I'm being straightforward with you. I can't
Okay.
just tell you that when that is happening, just breathe in and then it's going to go away. I mean, the breathing works. It just doesn't work for somebody who has not been practicing it. It's not like you step out of your house one day and some thieves or some guys attack you and you've never done any exercise in your life and then somebody says punch them. You don't know what a punch even looks like. You will not know. Some people will go like this. You don't know if you're supposed to go like this or like so. You don't know what it looks like. That's why it doesn't work. But if somebody who has been practicing, who has been doing breath works, if they get in a situation like that, that person you can tell them breathe. And if they do, they take in the air the way they are supposed to, it works for them at that time.
Okay.
Some other people you can tell, there are things that you can tell them to switch their mind and it will work just because they've been practicing. So I think the point I'm making is that with anything that has to do with mental skills, it's a practice. It's something you work on and not just wait for when you're under pressure or when a challenging situation is in front of you. At that time, honestly, if your brain doesn't know how to manage the chemicals, there's nothing you can do. The chemicals are just going to flow and then you will take a bad decision. So
Mm.
what I do with my clients is that I put them on a training, to train them, to show them how to actually learn about their brains, learn how to manage some of the, like, you have to find the person's stressors. Again, all brains are not the same. I mean, physically may look the same, but every person's mind is quite different. So you have to find a person's point of stress, like what stresses you, what causes your chemical imbalance. And then you know the
Mm,
kind of practice and exercises you can give them. That's the truth. Now, if you want me to tell you about tips, I would say yes. Take in deep breath. I would say if you have 5 minutes or just before or whatever you're doing, if you have few minutes, you can meditate a little bit. Yeah, I would say that. But being honest is something you have to practice. It's
prepare.
something you have to learn and practice before you can do it.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. For this very one, I really resonate with, like, you need to know yourself. That's very true. Because when I started, I remember starting off as, let me see, a swing trader. No, let me say a day trader rather, because a day trader can hold a trade for quite a while. You get it. But later on, I realized that nah, that's not for me. You get it. Because in as much as I'm patient enough to wait for the right time to execute my trades, I don't really have that much time to be what in a trade. Like, let me say, you'll be seeing like your money go like $10 in profits, it will come back to zero, it will go to -20. Like, that wasn't for me. You get it. So I rather
Mhm.
choose this one, like the quickest one. And from that, and even with that stress, so there are times that I'll be in a trade. That was before. I'll be in a trade and I'll feel like very tensed. So one way I was using to, let me see, cool that tension, I'll just get into the fridge and get a chilled water. After drinking it, everything will be fine. I can look like I can look at the market like a robot. You get it. So
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling any, like, my emotions as at that after drinking the water. My emotions are not linked to the this one, the money again. I'm just looking at my trade playing out. You get it.
Mhm.
So I think you guys, you are very new. Like this, like some of you, this is going to be the first time that you are really getting to know what MetaTrader is even about. So just take this opportunity to discover who you are. And that's where the truth is. Like, if you really get to discover who you are, then yes, she can advise you on what to do. But then for now, the least you can do is to what? Prepare. You get it? And that's the main motive for this boot camp as well. So the preparation does not end with us. After
Mhm.
each session, we expect you guys to what? Go back into the chat, go and analyze. That's why every Sunday we try as much as possible to do weekly outlook and back testing. You get it? You need to back test what's worked in like the past week, what's worked the past month, and what can work tomorrow. You get it? That's where the preparation comes in. If I really prepared, then you really see the insight and knowledge in what she's talking about, because there's something that's me, I 100% resonate with. So you guys really, the preparation they need, though, you guys. So, um, let me see.